Hey, welcome back to the channel. My name is Siim Lund, and in this video we're going to talk about what kind of types of intermittent fasting I don't recommend you to do. These types of fasting that I think aren't the best ones, that may have like more negative side effects and generally like aren't worth it. Make sure you click like and subscribe as well for future videos about optimizing your health and performance. Do it! Number one is gonna be juice fasting. So yeah, if you've been watching my videos, then you know that I've never been like a big proponent of juice fasting. I think that it's well, it's kind of the worst types of fasting because of some reasons that I'll explain. You know, of course, it can be beneficial for many reasons. It can help to help you lose weight. It can help you to like lower some inflammation in your body, lose water weight, whatnot. Those kinds of things make you feel better. But those things aren't necessarily caused by the juice fasting. They're just caused by the massive amounts of calorie restriction that you're experiencing, and you know the fasting itself regularly from that. So like the magical juice in there doesn't really provide a lot of the magical health benefits. Like, yeah, depends on the juice. If you're getting some sort of like vegetable juice that has some phytonutrients, some kind of different, you know, these phytochemicals, compounds in that they may also have like some health benefits. But if you're like, you can also do the juice fast in a way where you're, you know, drinking watermelon juice, orange juice, fruit juice, berry juice, those kinds of things that have high amounts of sugars. So in those kind of scenarios, the kind of the harm that you experience may actually be worse down the line. So like, you can get away with the juice fasting if you're doing it for 2 to 3 days, no problem. Like nothing bad's gonna happen. You're gonna lose weight. You may lose like a bit of muscle, but not like significant amount that you can't recover from. But if you're doing like this massive long juice fast, like 7 to 10 days, then yeah, even if you are doing juice fasting, especially, then they're gonna be quite, let's say, catabolic. You're gonna burn a lot of muscle tissue in the process because of not eating any protein. Juice doesn't have any protein, fruit doesn't have any protein, and over the course of 5+ days, you will start to see a significant drop in lean muscle mass, which is bad. It's a trap. Losing weight isn't necessarily the same as fat loss. You can still lose the majority of your weight as muscle and keep most of the fat, which is, the worst case scenario. You want to be doing the opposite. You want to be burning only fat and maintaining muscle while still losing, the weight in general, so that the majority of the weight loss would come from fat loss. That is the end goal. That's the best case scenario. And juice fasting kind of flips it up all the other way around, that you lose only muscle because if you're not in ketosis, you're burning sugar and carbs from the juice. You're keeping yourself in this catabolic mode. You're not getting enough protein, and you will see like a much worse muscle loss from that. This is the one that I don't really recommend to people do, and there are much better ways of sidestepping that. For example, like protein sparing modified fast, where you do the opposite, kind of that you're eating only protein and no carbs, no juices, no fats. You're still at a similar calorie deficit, like you would be in a similar calorie deficit, but because you're getting this larger intake of protein, you also maintain your muscle tissue. And for a fat loss perspective, that's much more better. You burn more fat and you keep your metabolic rate also high, because the protein of digesting protein requires a lot of energy and keeps your metabolic rate up, compared to juice fasting, where that doesn't really happen. Like the detox benefits, the hypothetical detox benefits from juices, well, most of them are also, you can achieve them with also just calorie restriction and fasting. So yeah, regular water fasting or even protein sparing modified fast will also mediate these detox benefits, like methionine, the amino acid that you get from protein or the meats. Then that also has beneficial effects on methylation, detoxification, and like sulfur that you get from also meats and eggs. Sulfur is the main mineral, main fuel for glutathione. So yeah, you can still detox doing the protein sparing modified fast, and as a benefit, you will maintain your muscle, which is kind of an end to a long rant of why I don't really recommend to do juice fasting, at least like in the long term. Number 2 is gonna be extended fasting, where you fast for like 7 to 10 days and even beyond that. So these multi-week fasts. Now the reason why I don't like these ones is also similar. Like you're just gonna lose muscle. It doesn't really provide any additional health benefits that you don't get from like a shorter fast, and they're also like very difficult. So the biggest problem that people may run into is just they rebound, they regain the weight because they haven't cultivated this like a better relationship with their food, and they coming off this long fast, they're super hungry, they have cravings. They want to replenish their body weight psychologically, and that's why they kind of tend to overeat and like overindulge, overgorge after breaking a fast. You don't really need to do any longer than a 3-day fast to like maximize the benefits of autophagy or whatever benefits that you're looking for. And I think after day 5, you will see a pretty drastic like increase in muscle loss. So anything longer than 5 days, I wouldn't recommend to anyone do. And yeah, ideal, at least like for me, I'm not going to plan on doing any longer than 3 days. So I think 7-day fasts, they're just not going to be worth it. And your metabolism is going to be pretty low after that, and that metabolic adaptation can persist even after you break the fast. So even if you are coming off from a 7-day fast, then you may maintain this slightly lower metabolic rate for, months and months upon end after the fact, because your body, experienced this higher amount of stress and also lost the muscle tissue a little bit, which will then like decrease your basal metabolic rate. Disappointed! Number 3 is gonna be fat fasting. So the opposite of juice fasting is gonna be fat fasting, where you're only consuming fats, either like butter, MCT oil, whatever fat you prefer. And the idea is that you consume those fats usually in some sort of a blend, like coffee, bulletproof coffee, teas. Bone broth can be fit into here. And the idea is that because you're eating these fats, you're keeping your blood sugar low, you're keeping your insulin low, and you're boosting ketones at the same time, which ketones help with fat oxidation and improve your energy levels. They maintain some aspects of autophagy more than carbs. So yeah, that can be true for sure. Like fat doesn't raise insulin, at least like in smaller calories, or the threshold for raising insulin is much higher. You can still raise insulin and you can still raise mTOR with consuming fat, if you consume like 1,000 calories of fat or something like that, because the amount of calories you get is still significant enough to raise insulin and raise mTOR as well. So yeah, I think that if you're eating only like 200 calories of fat from bone broth or something like that, then it's going to be fine. Or like bulletproof coffee, 500 calories, something like that, doesn't really have like any significant impact on the fasted state. And it may indeed help to stave off hunger, keep you satiated, and help you to fast for longer. But personally, why I don't recommend to do that, or why I don't like to do that, is that from my own experience, it doesn't just like feel that good. Like I prefer, like a more like a clear fasted state if I were to do like a longer fast. Like psychologically, it's also kind of beneficial to teach yourself not to be afraid of the slight feeling of discomfort and hunger, and not always looking for some sort of magic way out, something to stay off your hunger and keep you entertained. Instead of doing that, instead of like escaping that, just embrace the kind of the feeling that you get from the fast, because then like the psychological development, you develop the new kind of mindset, new viewpoint on food and life itself can be much more transformative compared to tricking your body into thinking that it's fasting. A few hundred calories can be fine, like a cup of bone broth to warm you up and get through the fast is fine. But trying to do like a fat fast, literally where you're eating thousands of calories of just fat, then yeah, it's not going to be a good idea, because you can still gain fat if you eat only fat. Like your diet is 100% butter, and then you eat 5,000 calories of butter, you're going to gain weight, and that's not the goal.
You got fat.
And number 4 is going to be the fasting mimicking diet. So this is another one that I've talked badly about in the past because of like similar reasons to the juice fasting. So the fasting mimicking diet is that you're eating only like 500 to 600 calories a day, and those foods are very low in protein, and they're essentially also tricking your body into thinking that it's fasting, because you're not raising insulin that's significant, and you're not raising mTOR. And the diet consists of like vegetable soup, crackers, nuts, seeds, seed bars, whatever kind of vegetables that you can eat, and you probably won't raise mTOR. And the studies find that the fasting mimicking diet does lower IGF-1 levels, which may indicate that some of the fasted benefits occur from that. But you can still lose muscle similar because of the fasting or the juice fasting. There's low protein and you're still kicking yourself out of ketosis because of eating like a significant amount of carbs. So yeah, I think that the better alternative would be some sort of like a protein sparing modified fast, or like more like a ketogenic fasting mimicking diet, where you're keeping the carbs still low and you're keeping yourself in ketosis, which will have slightly more anti-catabolic effects. Fitness perspective, obviously maintaining muscle is important. From a longevity perspective, it's also important to maintain muscle, because when you get old, you lose muscle, and the less muscle people have in their older age, then the higher risk of like osteoporosis and hip fractures it is, sarcopenia, metabolic syndrome, obesity. Those things that walk hand in hand with muscle loss and frailty. So you don't want to be losing muscle even if you're, doing it for longevity purposes.
Sucks!
Alright, that's it for this video.